Please join me in welcoming Vadim Kostrov. Well, thanks for sticking around, guys. Hope you enjoyed. We're trying to keep this relatively brief because obviously we have another feature to go. Vadim, you spoke a little bit about the location we see in the film, which is your hometown. But I assume most people like myself are not familiar with Russia. Can you just give us some background on your hometown as it relates to like a bigger city like Moscow? How, whether that's geographically or like industrially, is it it seems, obviously it's industrial with the smokestacks and whatnot, but it's also very scenic with the lake and pastures. So I'm just curious if you can kind of explain the differences between like that location and like a bigger city maybe.
It's obviously different from Moscow. Here you can see not whole city, but some sort of part of it, not all town, I guess. So Nizhny Tagil, it's an industrial center of middle Europe in Russia. So that means there is a lot of, basically people live by working in factories, in mill, metallurgy foundries. Yeah. And also there is a huge factory that produces wagons and also tanks. Yeah. And so it's just since 19th century, in Second World War, the super industrial center that has in the lake, it's Lake Tagil. Before it was important river and lake to deliver resources, because Europe extremely rich in resources. So basically, many historic. That's why it's appeared, because it was. So many resources were coming for industrial revolution to Britain, to France, wherever, to States, to like it's extremely like that. So, but my hometown and Sucia has some certain kind of connection to it.
Well, at some point in the, I guess the late 2010s, you wanted to go to like the main film school in Moscow, right? VDIK? Yeah, but you were there and then you dropped out at some point, right? Can you tell us why you were interested in like going through their system, and then why that maybe influences the kind of cinema you make? Because I'm assuming one is quite different than the other. Like you would have been making different films if you were going through their system, right?
Yeah. I left in the same year of the passing, kind of. I passed exam in 2017 and left in 2018. Well, actually, like about 2 months. I just stopped to go to the lectures and just watching the films. So technically I was going there until like spring 2018, but basically it's like there's nothing to do. And yeah, that's it. And this cinema that you saw, there's nothing to do with cinema that produced Kick.
What kind of, like, just as an example, like what would they want you to do? Like just like a narrative film? Is that like what they're interested in?
In Kick, yeah, there is just, like old school thing. There is a lot of like old masters. And basically I passed exams to screenwriting, not for filmmaking. So I was writing plays for theater, and then I rewrite it. Then I started to think more in ideas of more in cinema, more in images rather than in construction for theater. So funny thing that I came from theater, and I was passing exam also in GITIS, is Theater Academy in Moscow. So, but this was before. So, this is different kind of cinema. But there is something that I really appreciate Chekhov, and you know, most important thing, like in revolution thing that he did, was that in his place where it was important not what people say, but why people say. So this was a super like avant-garde back then, like after Van Vision, I don't know, many other dramaturgists and all this developing of theater back then in the 19th century. So, and yeah, I don't know, there is just really nothing to do, and I didn't want waiting for like something, I don't know, the document to be allowed to, I don't know, to participate to some pitching for maybe like do something. It was too bad. I felt that it doesn't work. And yeah, I just started 2018. I shot Lost on the Ground, my first documentary feature. So basically, I have a VHS camera. Like I took some also digital, and I got a film about Moscow Artistic Class. So before I made the film on iPhone, so it was already I got it. But while still was attending for a course, I edited the film on my iPhone, and shot and edited. And then I showed in some, like underground festival. It was like different types of arts, installation and stuff. And like it was like late at night. It was about, I don't know, like 10 people. But the thing was that they would sit like you and they watched and they were like, I don't know, receive it in some way. So and then I was like, so that's it. This is how it works actually, and after that I just continue and different ways developed. I found my own cinema and developed the methods that appeared on the way.
Yeah. Like you said, you made some documentaries, like I mentioned before, the one you just mentioned while you were there. I guess what prompted you to want to go back to your hometown to shoot these films, because you've shot many films there now. I guess did you kind of need to go away for a while and then come back to or do you feel like that helped you kind of refresh or like come back to your hometown and like be inspired? Or did you always want to just go back and
watching or this rejoins?
Yeah, or just like living in Moscow for how long were you there?
I was in about 6 years.
6 years.
So I left to Moscow when I turned 18.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess why did you want to go back to your hometown to shoot these films? And like, do you think it helped that you were gone for a while to like kind of re-experience your hometown again?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had this kind of practice that making films to return to hometown, as many people does who lives like in a big like New York, LA. I think many people who live here visiting their like states, little towns. It's it's common thing like all over the world. But back then, I think it was in 2019 when I started with Orpheus, the film, and then I wanted to help my ex-girlfriend to kind of escape from metal job, and then I got some insight, I had sort of revelation that cinema can be like first space, and cinema can act and redirect the very life of people, like by creating some sort of another space, another movements of the life, and kind of working along with it, and cinema can become like a stage for the people with manifesting their own lives, giving them possibility to face their own lives, reflected and heal and being healed in some way. So it was the very first intention that I had, and I also wanted to help and heal myself, and first hand help Anya. So I returned to Nizhny Novgorod 2019 with the camera I made. Basically, I was considering the film Orpheus, which became like beginning of, and through this I refound the method in my own voice and it was important I refound it by giving this voice to those who has no kind of right or like chance to be heard. So it was all important. So, but this method that I'm saying, that cinema can be real space, it can it has its intention and movement, and it's life substance, so kind of which filled by certain spirit, certain aura, and it has its beginning, its movement, and its goal, and its act. It was very, very important. So I just in this way, and also I catch the Narodny Gallery, and this way it was this documentary that we just shortly started talking about. There was a sort of cinema that must be done. So I just felt like this time that we had, and it's constantly passing by, and everything is super. Even then, back then, it felt really unstable, and every every concert, every exhibition that guys made there back then felt like it can be lost. And I really wanted also to help them. So even by also in documentary film, when we have by the appearance of the camera, by the appearance of this kind of the reality got some boost, some kind of push to and I'm kind of curious, and I want to refine, I want to open it, I want to kind of not just capture it as a kind of chronics, but say something through this, because we found some essence of what it's all about, and show and let people experience what is it all about. And like Narodna Trilogy is pretty much about this collective energy and collective, what's how it works exactly, actually, like how one people, two people is coming together, how it's, and so on, how they accumulated. And back then it was the point that to show that there is another Russia, there is another culture, it's not what shows in the mass media. There is this truly culture in underground. There is a lot of stuff like that. There's was idea to have a point, have a kind of charge for other people also in Russia, like post-Soviet personal space, I don't know, everywhere, and also for from to see it from here or from I don't know, from Europe to show this, that actually it can be it's this also exists. So it was also really important to prove it in some way, prove it and save it in its life form in an immersive way, such a way which kind of making time capsule of it and allowing us to connect to this and experience it. So something that always passing by, and even by the ending of the shot, it's already gone. So it was, I felt it and I just catch it. And many of the kids now it's gone. Everyone.
I want to open it up here after this question. I just wanted to touch on this film in particular, Summer. One thing I didn't know when I was watching the films originally, how in some cases how autobiographical and personal they are, or at least semi-autobiographical. Can you just talk about that in relation to this film? I mean, is it correct to think that like this is some sort of a portrait of your childhood in some way?
Yeah, it was based on there is even the little boy called Vadim. He looks like me. In 8 years also like him. No, occasionally, but okay, maybe I'm not talking about it. But of course, it's all my places, all the flats. Even Granny is my granny, like in this house. But my friends around. All these places are real, and they all means a lot for me. And the idea was to return to these places after after without COVID, so I got really bad and really I got some really paralyzed fear. I was really in a bad condition, and then I found some in Google Maps that these places are exist. So I decided if I'm gonna be okay, alright, so I will return there, and I somehow reached it again. It was kind of source of my life. It was like very beginning. It was very important to return there and find the form to achieve this feelings again. And the quote from the Bible was very much about it. So it was a real spiritual experience. I felt really, really wonderful this summer. So it was the best summer. So this is how I achieved. And with this work, it's kind of projecting into this energy and realm of the film. So I kind of achieved this realm, achieved something in between. Not reconstruction past, but again working with this life circles, real people, the places for them and their natural communication and the observing and receiving the light and everything. So all this is harmony. Of course, very, very much related to my memories. For example, scene with Granny, where is talking about it was the very first thing that we shot, and it was my dream. And I remember this mise-en-scène. It was exactly like that. But surprisingly, it never changed, and nothing changed in this house. So we just arrived, and it just something happened. I gave them this. I really rarely gave any words here to people, almost none. But here I gave this question about the rain and forest. So, and this is how it started, and this is how we achieved. This is another realm of the film. Yeah.
Do you have any questions before we jump into the second film? Right there.
Hello.
Oh, yeah, try and talk. If not, I'll bring you the mic.
All right. I noticed that there are a lot of mentions and images and discussions of fire in the story. Is that intentional, or did it just happen to continue coming up?
The question was about the motif of fire in the dialogue, I guess.
Yeah, it's a good question. But as I said about the places, it was important to say also one of the important places was this fireplace in the forest that we call the Maucha, so it means smoky place, or a place of smoke. I don't know, it was a part of it, but somehow actually, this motive that could, for example, Vadim Kostrov, who is kind of playing Russian, no one there, not playing anyone, by the way, okay, but he is mentioned, he lose his fire, so I don't know, it was all how he felt, it was all intentional, and his sense with him, it was also created kind of according to very reality of him and his own going to the like walking through this industrial suburbs of the huge manufacturing. So yeah, it's very much about some, I don't know. Yeah, it's like fire appears in many of my films, and of course it means each time means different things, but I don't know, it's just, it was, I wasn't like, okay, we do this, we do that, but in the end, it takes some place in its common harmony of the film, whereas we have a green, we have a kind of different worlds, we have kind of, we can say kind of paradise in the greens, in the garden, that's like sort of, yeah, Eden, whatever. And we have this industrial, endless manufacturing. This looks very much like hell. And this is how I felt, but then I remember, because it's like endless production of this thing, endless fire, endless heat. And I don't know, and it was very in connection to Gosha's life, his own life, and kind of this sort of panorama, harmony, all the things all around. So, and you see, we have a boy, we have an older, we have a granny, we have a teenager. So they all just represent more than themselves. It's something like through them, in them. So it just kind of in fire there. Yeah, it's just sometimes it's not burning, sometimes it's fire. Yeah, it's. I think it's. Yeah, of course it was important to have a fire in some way. I have a place and there's a sense and I don't know, we feel very much about light. Actually, there's somewhere it's just affected us. And this time projection was not that bright, but whatever. But I feel very much about light and the fire is part of this, part of, there's sort of light, certain atmosphere that creates better. And like many things, like fire is endless.
Anyone else? Can you tell us a little about, well, we should mention the next film, Fall, but I'm curious how, at what point did you think you were making like a seasons series? Was it, yeah, just at what point and how did that play into this film, in the run of the films? I don't know what number this is in the series. I think it was like summer, winter.
Yeah, second one was winter, but after 1 year I returned, it took fall. Yeah, in the beginning I wasn't thinking about to make it seasons. I just was the idea to return to these places, to summer, to this childhood, and summer can be kind of as one. It's not as any season, but summer is. It was very first, and even only afterwards I realized that there is something that I want to save as places, some periods of life. Like it became obvious what is exactly what I want to show, what I want to reflect. And first it was winter, and then there is very much digital and kind of returning period of teenage years. I was willing to reflect also the optics of the time and how it was changing as well as I was growing up. And in Fall you will see how optics also changed, how from this mini TV, really cozy, we are going to the high definition or large scale, which is big space, where just we found ourselves so little. So there's very many things I had on mind, for example, about Fall. Also the crisis of 2008, for example. For me, summer was about 2006, I was 8 years old or something like that. But then I moved to another district, so it based also my memories, moved to another district. So I get to my father, so it started another life, so I was just myself, no one controlled me, and I first started to realize myself as a person, and it follows me is very much about first step in the big world as a person, first wandering, first impression that you receive as a person, first kind of staying before the life, with this issue, like last light. So if summer is just kind of, we can appear, there is kind of endless light, and there is a kid, he is always like beloved by sun, and he's always like shining, but in Fall it's already like last lights. And that's how I felt, like it was a period of like melancholy, and also I was alone. I was spending very much many time alone, but there is a kind of, again, I'm trying to receive some common image through this, something to reflect the past. Also, there was, economical crisis or globalization about. I was thinking about this dimension, as the screens become wider, and I was thinking about also, and I realized that that period also was a war in Georgia, and Russia was very much participated. So there was many things, but you are like a kid and you're stepping into this world, and yeah, and for I don't know, every time I want to achieve what is it itself, this season, what is the season itself, what is it about, as a cycle, as an object in a cycles, as an element in this continuation of cycles.
Yeah. Yeah, this film looks a little different, feels a little different, and a little shorter too, so I hope you guys stick around. And yeah.
Yeah, in the fall there is no any words, so you will not have to read my bad subtitles that I made in 2020.
So you can just relax.
Yeah, it's going to be a relaxed experience, and then you can really slowly come home.
All right, well,
we can talk, yeah.
Yeah. If you're still around at the end, we can say hi to all of you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.